What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Moot Points Podcast. I'm Brian Moote. My co-host, as always, Patrick Moote. This week's a little different. I know we talked about it on last episode, but I am coming to you live right now from Hollywood, California, because I'm on vacation from the Burt Show this week, and I wanted to come out here. I have a couple meetings with businessy types, the suits per se, and I wanted to do some shows. I was at the Ha Comedy Club in North Hollywood a few days, which is a club that I love personally. It's one of my favorites in the world because it's kind of where I started out here in California. It's the first club to give me stage time. I shot a commercial there as a comedian for the USA Network. I believe we've talked about this before, but I booked this commercial. I was playing a comedian. Well, I pitched myself. The casting call said, if you use your car for work, let us know. We're looking for people like artists, actors, whatever, who use their cars for work. So I pitch in the casting call, like I'm a comedian. I have to drive all over the place for work. And they ended up booking me. It was for the General Auto Insurance. And I dodged a huge bullet, because I didn't have that stupid cartoon general in the commercial with me going like, for the best car insurance rates in town, go 1-800-GENERAL now. I didn't have that guy in there. I didn't have to talk to a cartoon. I didn't have to tell jokes in front of a cartoon. It was basically just kind of cheesy. I was like, I'm Brian Moote, and I'm a comedian. Not use my car insurance. And they kept cutting to all these different comedy clubs. And so in lights on the comedy club, it's like tonight, like now appearing Brian Moote. I'm walking in the club first, doing the same joke about yoga. I do the same joke in every venue. Then I'm at a bookstore, like coffee shop, and then a restaurant. So they wanted to show the evolution of a joke, and the whole thing was that I get to drive from each place. So that was cool. I got to do that. 2 shows at the Ha. I'm at the Brea Improv tonight. Actually, the Brea Improv Comedy Club is one of the biggest chains in the country, and I don't work the clubs very much anymore because I'm doing radio, and it's really nice to be back. And so today's podcast, Patrick hosts the first half. He's got UK Dave and financial analyst Joe, and I'm not sure what hijinks and shenanigans they talk about because I haven't listened to it yet. And I'm not sure if there's any technical difficulties, but I'm assuming there will be a couple because Patrick has never produced his own podcast using the mix board and music and sound clips and whatnot. So it'll be an adventure. It'll be an adventure for all of you. And then I host the second half of the podcast with a guy, a good friend of mine, a comedian named Ryan Dalton, who lived with me briefly in Hollywood in the Sheet Room Palace in West Hollywood, and we tell stories about that disaster of an apartment, about how dirty and disgusting it was, and about how grateful I am to have a real job and live a real life like a real boy, and buy a house like a grown-up, like a grown person. So I hope you guys have fun, enjoy it. It's kind of a contest. If you feel like tweeting at us who you think won the pod off, whether it's the Patcast or the Brycast, sounds awful, but he was calling his the Patcast. So the Patcast or my half of the podcast, tweet at us at Moot Points or at Pat Moot. And thank you so much for listening. I hopefully will be coming at you in the next episode live from Las Vegas, where I will be hanging out with the Atlanta Hawks, interviewing players and going to the NBA Summer League games and drinking too much. And then my vacation wraps up and I will be back live in the studio on the Burt Show on Monday. Thank you so much for listening, you guys, and I'll see you soon.
A lot of people say, what's that? It's Pat. A memory served, except for her, for whatever it might be. It's time for everybody. Here comes Pat.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Moot Points Patcast. Yeah, you like that? It's a little play on words there, the Moot Points Patcast. We are going to have a lot of fun today because Brian is not here, and I'm in charge. Yeah, I'm running the show. I am running the show. This should be terrifying to everyone. But I got 2 great guests with me today. I got my good buddy, financial planner, Joe Schreck.
Good afternoon.
There he is. And a very special guest coming up later, motivational speaker, UK Dave, a.k.a. Davey Robbins, a.k.a. I don't remember your real name. But it doesn't matter. He's English. Say hi, Dave.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
Look at that accent. Woo! Hot fire.
It's
hot fire.
It's the voice. It's
Good
the
stuff.
accent.
It is. It is the accent. He kills it. It's not fair. So, yeah, you guys, I've never had to do this. Like, I've never had to be in charge of, like, keeping things going. I usually just kind of make jokes. First of all, what I'd like to bring up is... Oh, it's so unprofessional,
Oh,
Joe.
I know. I'm sorry.
You're not
Damn
you're
it.
such a financial planner.
No,
wrong? He's
come
sick.
on.
He's sick.
Come on.
It's all right. It's all right. Okay. Here's the thing. Both of them, Joe has done the podcast before. Dave has not ever, which is a shame. And I will say, I got to turn our levels down a little bit. Brian's good. See, this is what so Joe's done the podcast before, and he was like, I don't know, it was kind of cool. Like Brian just pretty much sat there and was like, just like messing with like levers
He kept turning
buttons
buttons and putting things
pushing
up and putting
things.
things down.
Yeah, I think we're getting close. We're
Okay.
good. He's always like anal retentive about it. I'm like, would you just chill, man? It doesn't even matter. And then I'll listen to it and I'll be like, oh man, you botched that, Brian. You totally botched it. I had nothing to do with it. He was in charge. So Joe did this podcast once already, which we will talk about a little bit more because I feel like Joe feels like he needs to redeem himself.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I listened. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I don't even listen when I'm on it. Like I say stuff and then I just move on, delete, moving on to the next one. But Joe made a point when he came in because we're doing dueling podcasts this week. So it's going to be like, who's better at podcasting? Is it Brian or is it Patrick? Or who hosts a better show? And on first glance, Dave has just raised his glass of mimosa, which I brought. Yes, I made mimosas for the men. Joe hasn't been feeling good, so I got him some Yingling Light.
The
in
Yingling is
can.
very good.
Yeah.
And I have 3 replacements ready to go in a chilled container.
It's
so
like a pot that I grabbed from the...
with ice though.
But I
With
put ice in it. Put a little water in it so they'd float around because they
yeah.
weren't just cold enough. Oh, he's got a frosty mug for the one that he's drinking right now.
It makes me
Suck
wanna
it,
come
Brian.
back. It
You know what
makes me wanna
Brian?
come back.
You know what Brian does when I do a podcast with him? He like yells at me for the first 20 minutes before we start. Just shouts. Just breaks me down. Gets me to talk about personal stuff and then brings it up like 5. Oh yeah, Pat. Why don't you keep talking about how you have hemorrhoids? You dick, Brian. Okay, so So let's see what else. What else do we got? What else is going on today? Oh God, I forgot. Okay, so I told people that I was doing friends, family, all that kind of stuff. I told people that I was doing this podcast and I was doing it without Brian and was going to be kind of flying solo, and people were really excited about it. And so I told them. I set up our phone line. And I told them like, if you want to call in and just tell me, how excited you are about me doing the podcast by myself, which we are calling the Patcast, give us a call and we'll see what happens. So we're hoping that... Oh, my God.
Speak of the devil.
We have our first caller. This is really exciting. Okay, well, let's answer this and see who it is. Hello, this is the...
I'm Greg Mock, and I love the Moot Points Patcast.
Oh, my gosh.
Greggy
Handsome
Poo.
Greg. Thank you,
Greg.
Handsome Greg. That's really nice of him just to call in and say that. Yeah, Handsome Greg lives in the building here.
It's good timing.
Yeah, no, I know. It was really good timing. We'll see. I mean, I kind of assume, like, my friends and family, like, they really dig me, They think I'm... Uh-oh!
Holy cow.
Another caller. Well, I guess we should take it. Let's see. Hello.
Hi, I'm Jamal, and I love the Moot Points Patcast.
Oh, thank you, Jamal. Thank you, Jamal. Okay, well, Jamal, we should talk about Jamal. We could talk about Jamal, right, guys? Jamal lives across the street. We call Dr. Duffelbag. He just pushed. No, Jamal's the best. Jamal lives across the street, and Jamal loves the Moot Points Patcast. Greg lives in the building, and he loves the Moot Points Patcast. You know what's funny is when I do this with Brian, no one ever calls in. No one really ever has anything to say. So I guess we'll just keep our fingers crossed for a few more callers coming in hot. So I guess we can, just to keep this party moving the way that it's supposed to, forward with a forward momentum. I'm stalling while I set up music. I'm new to this.
That's okay.
I'm working it out.
You're
I'm
doing great. You're doing great.
Thanks, buddy. So Joe has been on the podcast before. Joe felt like maybe last time his performance on the podcast wasn't great.
I mean, it wasn't terrible.
It's tough with Brian, man. He steamrolls you.
Well, he takes, all the attention's always on him, so it was hard.
So we got this for Joe. Joe's coming back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Joe's back. Financial planner Joe.
What y'all trying to do? 24 karat magic in the air.
Yeah, he's getting down right now. This is our flywheel favorite. Okay.
Look out. Pop, pop, it's showtime.
Yeah, that's right. So Joe's back. Joe's back on the podcast, and Joe's ready to make do for his performance.
Yeah, I'll do my best here.
So what do you want to talk about? Because I got nothing for you.
Well, you prepared nothing.
Not a goddamn thing.
Come on, Pat.
No. Yeah, okay, so here we go. We can talk about this. Let's talk about this. First of all, you are our financial planner now.
Well, it's been a difficult couple months.
It
but
has
yes.
been. I do ask, because Brian has put me in charge. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how dumb are some of the questions that I ask sometimes? Like, I'll be like, what is a FIN?
Well, I don't think they're not dumb questions because I think you're doing better than most people. But,
Am I?
I think you help Brian out by getting the things done.
That's it. I do. I'm
You
a
know,
mover and a shaker.
I'm still waiting for a few documents from Brian.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
And
we
it's
went
been-
to
it's
we
been
went
like
to open
3
the
months,
bank
but-
account the other day, and literally the lady was just like, "Okay, so," and we hand her all this paperwork, and she's like, "Okay, what is this?" And it's like, these are the papers that we have.
These are
are
the
the ones
papers.
that Brian handed
This is
me
what we
before we
have.
walked in here, and these are the ones I'm handing you now, even though he's sitting
Where do
there
I sign? Where
on
do I
his
sign?
phone, just tweeting, talking about something else. And she looks at me and is like, "Okay, well, where's your federal tax ID number?" And I was like, "We don't have that." She was like, "Why don't you have that?" I was like, "Because I don't know where to get that from." And that's it. She was like, "Well, you need that." I was like, "Do we? Do we need that? Because we could do this another way potentially." And we did.
Right, less than 10
So we
minutes,
used
you
Brian's
got-
social
you- yeah,
security
you're
number,
good.
which
You're
is
good.
53429.
624.
Oh, shit! Get him. That's not real, but it probably is somebody's, so have fun with that. They're from Seattle, Washington. So this is going to be the nightmare that Joe's going to have to go through pretty soon, because we actually do have some money coming in at some point.
It's about time.
I know. It's taken us a minute. We're
No, it's
bad
been
at
good.
we
It's
don't, we
been
don't
good.
like asking for money.
No,
Yeah.
it's been good. I think the hardest thing for you guys is just not spending it,
It's going to be impossible. It's not happening.
Or
we
spend
have to
it the right
spend
way.
it.
Spend it the right way.
Yeah, sure. Shoes and shit.
Shoes,
Business investments.
vodka, club sodas with
Yes.
a splash of cran.
There you go. Tall ones. Yeah.
Mimosas.
Mimosas.
That's how we roll.
Drinks up.
Yeah.
Drinks up, guys. Oh, we should talk about too. Brian, in his super meddling, Putin-esque, Russia colluding ways, took an extra mic cord that he didn't need, and so we only have one mic for these two handsome gentlemen.
You think he really did that on purpose?
I think.
Oh, he so did that on purpose. Yes, he did. He's a meddler. I knew he was going to do it.
Yeah.
I think he's running.
Honestly,
I think he's running scout.
on my end, as soon as he left, I came over here and started learning how to use the podcast equipment, which, not that I didn't know how to use the podcast equipment, but I don't really try that hard. I know once he listens to this too, he's going to be like, "Oh, yeah, you're like having people call in and we do phone ring sound effects and, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, Pat can't do anything." Yeah, man. See, it's tough when you play a dumb card for like really, really long time and then you don't every once in a while. And people are like, "Wait a minute. You can do stuff."
I do that with laundry, actually.
Yeah, see?
I can't do laundry. My wife does it for me, and I can never do the laundry the right way.
If they ever watch you do it too, you're like folding things like upside down, kind of
it's
tying
always
it in
wrong.
knots.
It's always wrong.
Throwing it around.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. So let's. How much time do we have? Okay, we have an ass all the time. I'm sorry.
Plenty of time, Pat.
Time moves slow for me because I'm on vacation all the time. Okay. So first time that you met Brian, Joe. Let's just talk about that.
Yeah, we were in the dog park. Let's talk about the first time we met you.
We'll talk about that later. I think we've talked about that a bunch of times, but we'll keep because we actually there's some stuff we can cover there. So first time you met Brian, because we're gonna compare and contrast. What was it like meeting me and Brian? Just so we can set up all the differences and highlight really how great I am.
Well, Brian's
People
very
don't
different.
realize it.
Brian's more of
Square,
well, he's
Dork.
More, he's
loser, lame,
Focused
not
on getting things
super fun.
done
Oh
and being
God,
like,
okay, yeah, motivated and driven.
yeah.
yeah.
And you're. It's not that you're not. It's just that you have different goals. For example.
What? Oh yeah, I'm with you. Keep going. Keep talking.
So, I mean, those are some of the things, but
I'm good. I'm back.
that's very unprofessional, Pat.
Thank you.
I think our time has best been spent at the Elbow Room.
Yes. And you guys met first, because I don't even know if I've heard this before, but you guys first met at the dog park.
We met in the dog park. It was really awkward. We actually covered it on the last podcast that I was
Oh,
on,
did you?
So I don't want to cover it again.
Yeah, we
but,
don't have to cover that again. Sparks flew. Everybody.
yeah,
I remember Brian was like talking you up
Everyone was
like
very
right after
happy,
that. He was
right.
like, "Oh yeah." Well, he also needed friends because he was in a friendless.
Yeah, it was.
relationship.
We're all in tough situations at different points in our life, and I think that was a good time for him to find a good bro.
To meet some dudes.
Bro, yeah,
Yeah,
like,
good
dude
dudes.
up, like bro night.
Joe's wife is great too. So we can tell this story. So tell them about the first time that you met me, because then I will tell you about the first time that I met you.
Yeah.
Really, because the first time I met you, I don't remember. Really.
I don't
that
really
much.
remember either, to be honest with you.
I had been drinking all day, and I just got into town. And I remember meeting people at Gypsy Kitchen, which is a place just across the street.
Oh, that's
in Buckhead.
right. Yeah, that's
And
nice.
Brian had and we've talked about this on the podcast before, but Brian didn't know what an old fashioned was because
Right.
he's basic as AF. And I ordered one. He was like, "Well, I'll have what he's having." Took one sip and was like, "Gross," and poured it into mine.
Right.
I drank the double. Then he goes back, orders another round,
Right.
not realizing that
Right.
they're just going to make two more old fashions, thinking that everybody knows that he's just a vodka soda with a splash of cran kind of guy.
Right.
And goes back, orders another round, gets two more, and then is like, "Oh, gross," and pours them together and gives them to me. And then
And that was like 10 o'clock, and you were
I was
lights out.
blacked out.
Yeah,
I was gone.
That was a rough night for you.
So what, how in your, what do you remember? Because I remember I woke up the next morning and I was like, I met this really nice guy and he's my manager now.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We really hit it off.
We did.
And you were looking for some shows, and I faked like I was a talent. They call them talent, right?
Yeah, talent manager.
Talent manager.
Yeah,
And,
sure. That sounds right. See, I'll
tried
sign
to-
with you still. I'm an idiot. We're not smart.
Yeah,
We don't know what to do.
You just get your gigs, and I'll collect the.
Sure.
What percentage is usually?
I mean, what do you want?
Well, what are you giving? What do you want to start?
don't know. I'm bad at this.
20%.
21.
You're supposed to go down.
Oh, 18.
No, that was yeah, right.
No, 10%. That's what you get. Well, I guess a manager, it depends. Agents take 10%. Managers can take 15. Funny story. I had a terrible, terrible manager once who used to take 15% of the commercials that I would book, even though she did nothing, and my agent only took 10%. And they got the audition, they negotiated the contract. So when I got mad at her once and was about to quit and was like, "Doesn't that seem a little stupid to you?" She said, "No." I said, "That's because you're an idiot."
So did you fire her?
Yeah, I did.
So how do you
That's not-
get?
I just did exactly. If Brian was here right now, he would slam me for that. Right now, as he's listening, he's like, Pat and his dumb stories. It just stop. I had an actual punchline that I was going to say, but I wanted to try it out without.
Well,
See how it goes.
There's a couple things I want to ask you.
Flat
but,
on its face.
How did you find your agent manager? Did someone
Out
call
here?
you? No, like back in L.A. The first one that you ever had.
The first one that I ever had, I was doing showcases and improv and stuff. So it was manager agent showcases where people would be there and come through and to watch you do, improv, get a location and a character and dick around on stage. So that's how I got most of my representation at first.
So they sit in the crowd and they're like, I think this guy's gonna be
Oh yeah,
good.
they're like, "Oh man, he's got so much potential." Ha! Wrong, bitches. Nice try. Yeah, you really spot talent pretty good.
And then
You're
they
about
grab
as
you. They
good
grab
as
you
them.
after the show and be like, "Hey, I'm."
No, usually they don't see anything at the show, and then you'll just get an email, and it'll be like, "Hey, I'm this person, and I think you are special." And you'll be like, "No shit."
So how many emails did you get?
About 1,000.
And then you had to sift through those to find.
No,
who you
there's
wanted.
only 2 people at these. I mean, you can ask Brian. The places I used to do improv, there was one of the problems one night we had to delay a show because we couldn't get the crackhead that we found sleeping in the back of it out in time. And it was like, "Well, can we still do the show with him back there?" It's like, I don't know. He might snap. He might snap and kill everybody.
These are classy establishments.
Oh,
that you're doing.
really nice places.
Yeah.
It's when you get signed there, it's it's like getting signed for singing outside a bar at night.
Speaking of improv,
Yeah.
the stand-up stuff that you're doing,
Yeah.
tell us about that.
All right. See, Joe's just I like this. This is good. This is how the Patcast rolls. You want to be the host? You're the
No,
host.
you're doing a great job. Tell me
No,
about
I
it,
like
for real.
this. I like it because let's talk about me.
Yeah.
Yes. We never get talking about me. We're just talking about Brian.
Well, that's
So I'm talking about Pat.
I could feel the pain in
Pat,
your
yes,
voice.
thank
Pat.
you.
So let's really showcase
It's going
you.
pretty well. It's going better. Brian was blasting me last week because he was like, "You come up with these great premises and then just don't really write any jokes. Like it's like it'd be like going to the top. You're on a roller coaster and you're just like tick 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 like all the way to the top, and then you get to the top and they're like, "Oh, psych, it's the DMV," and you have to get out and just get in line and like wait. Like it's not cool at all. They're bad. Like they just kind of putter out. But that being said, they're solid premises, which is a little more important because then finding the comedy in it, you just have to try a little harder. So I'm trying to try a little harder.
Okay.
And I was maybe going to do an open mic tonight, but there's also a possibility that I will bail on that shit so fast. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Chances of you bailing are probably pretty high. So
Pretty high.
I've noticed that a lot of comedians, when they go up on stand-up, they have their phones. So that a lot of their notes are in their phones.
Sure.
You go old school.
Oh, the book.
You have a book.
Oh my God! I left my book at the
Tell
elbow
us-
room
tell
the
us
other
about
day.
that experience.
It's not a great. I'm starting to learn that maybe technology, like, just stop fighting it and just go with it because I left it at the bar the other day. And where is it? It's somewhere around here. I think it's on the table, maybe. But the server who found it read it and like wrote me a note and was like, "Yeah, my dog hates me too." And like, I mean, look at the things. It's like flip back a page there. You can see it.
I like the first line.
Yeah.
I'm not romantic.
Yeah, thank you. That's it. Well, that's true. I'm not romantic. I can't do it. It seems stupid. It's like I won't cheat on you. That's as romantic as I get. Isn't that a good thing? Like, isn't that all that girls want? No, you have to prove
good
it
start.
over and over every day. You have to prove how much you like me.
There you go.
There you go. See, it's from Mary.
Dear Patrick.
Yes.
LOL.
Yeah. This is the Dear Patrick.
She couldn't help herself. She just wanted to read Pat's book. So
She had to read my book
Mary's a great lady. She's a great waitress at the local place.
at the old local place.
But yeah. So I don't know. Since you guys can't see Pat, he has been working out lately.
I'm getting. Can you tell? I'm getting huge.
I can
getting
tell.
huge.
I can tell
Huge.
I can tell in your arms.
Thank you.
The most.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing a lot of curls, so it makes sense.
But yesterday you did a fly bar class.
I did a fly bar class with Joe's wife.
You did.
At 8:30 in the morning. Only chicks in there. I will tell you this. You bitches are crazy. The workouts that you do are so hard. Like that thing, you slam your ass. My ass got better yesterday. Like 2, 3, 5% better one day. Just, oh my God, dude, it's rowdy. It's so rowdy. It's not built for men though, because we're all like weak in these areas where it's like our joints and our back and like, because we're just lugging around our fat asses all the time and our huge muscles. And whatever else that we're carrying around, like backpacks full of guns and shit.
Usually change in our pockets.
Sure, change in our
Yeah,
pockets. We're
yeah.
sitting on our big fat wallets
Right.
full of money, throwing our backs off. So it's not kind to those areas that guys usually have trouble with like every joint and your back.
And the bar classes are they're like short movements.
Oh yeah,
for a
and
long
just like
period of time, right?
repetitive, like wham, wham, wham. Like you will just slam on your ass for 5 minutes. And I mean, granted, we all love getting our asses slammed for 5 to 10 minutes, but it's tough.
That was weird.
Thank you.
That was weird.
Oh,
that was good.
my
That's
back
funny.
hurt.
I mean, that's funny. You gotta
Thank
really
you.
search for the comedy in that. That's
Yeah.
great.
That's how you know. That's how you know I'm killing it. Is when you have to start searching for the comedy in something.
right.
So actually, because we have you on, Joe this week had an interesting experience. He took why don't you just tell us everybody quick what you do and like the kind of people that you're responsible for, because we're segueing now into
okay, I see.
how
You
awesome, because you killed that. You killed that last segment.
Every couple Fridays, I have like a team huddle. So I have, 15, 17 advisors that I work with. And on Fridays, a couple times a month, we get together and just kind of talk about what's going well, what's not going well. And from time to time, I'll bring in a guest speaker. Well, UK Dave was at the Tony Robbins Gary V. And who else was there?
Oh, it was the National Achievers Conference.
Sounds
out here in Atlanta.
yeah, out in the
Yeah.
ATL.
Where
At the
Georgia Swan played.
At the Infinite Energy Arena.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey.
So
hey.
Dave went to that last Thursday, and he was all jacked up, telling me all this cool stuff. So,
about how to motivate one's life.
Exactly. So I had Dave come in and speak to my team at 9 o'clock last Friday. And he killed it. He did great. I have 55 minutes of audio.
55 minutes. I told Brian, and Brian was like, "Oh, so he's headlining already?" I'm like, "Oh, easy."
Now, I mean, I told my team that
Easy.
we're getting Dave at a discount because I think at some point in his lifetime that he's going to charge big
And
dollars
we
for
will
that.
be talking about this at the end, so don't let me forget to bring this up at the
Write
end.
that down.
Write that down on the board. Be like, you can erase all that other crap on there. Yeah, what we're doing is, at the end of this, we're trying to plan a Dave does a day. So all we'll do is charge for enough money to rent the game room in our building at the L in Buckhead, and then
that'd be so
everybody's gonna come, and you can sit there, and Dave's gonna do like a motivational speech. He's gonna be jumping up on the tables and like, yeah. I've
That'd
never
be
heard
great.
anything that he does. He's putting his hand in his.
No,
You're gonna kill it.
Well, the funny thing is,
He's gonna kill it.
You know, you meet Dave.
He's gonna be
and
so good.
He's kind of like
He brings
shy,
you up, man.
You know, at first, and then
Brings
you get to
people
know
up.
him, and he's got some really powerful things to say. So
Yeah, he sure does.
It was
He
good.
Sure as
It was
shit
good.
does. So we're about to go into that. Uh-oh. I think we have another caller. All right. Well, let's see real quick who could be calling. Hello, this is the Moot Points Podcast.
Well, hello.
Hey, who's
It's
this?
me, Brant David Tobler.
Brant Tobler, one of Brian's best friends.
Vegas, Nevada. I just want to call and leave a message to let you guys know that I love the Moot Point Patcast.
Oh, buddy.
Look forward to it every week.
Yeah, that's right. Well, this
Give
is the
me
first time
more.
we've done it. So.
Give me more.
You'll get.
Give me more
wow.
Moot Points Patcast.
All right, there it is.
Big fan of
Brant
Patcast.
Tobler. Wow, that's one of Brian's best friends. That's great that he took the time out of his busy day to give me a call.
to
Yeah.
give you a live call.
Yeah, to
when he
hit
said
me up.
leave a
Hit me
message,
up.
he meant just send the message.
Yeah, I
He
just
wanted to
send the message. So I mean, and it just happens, these things come in spurts sometimes, kind of. Uh-oh. Got another call. All right. Well, we'll take this and then we'll get back to what we're doing. Hey, this is Patrick. You're on the Moot Points Podcast.
Hey Patrick, how's it going?
Oh, it's my cousin Eamon.
Just wondering what you're doing down in Atlanta.
Just
Sounds
killing it,
like
bro.
you're having fun.
Super fun.
You are definitely my favorite cousin.
Whoa!
I'll talk to you later.
Oh, love you,
Bye.
buddy. Later, buddy. Thank you. That's so nice. I mean, he's got a lot of cousins too. For me to be his favorite,
That's a big deal.
it's a really big deal. That's a huge deal. It's huge. It is a huge deal. You know what else is a huge deal is the way that things kind of come together in the universe. Because I've been feeling like I need a little motivation in my life, and I feel like I could use somebody to get me back up, to get me doing my thing. See, this is it. UK Dave. We're calling it Davy Robbins. Davy Robbins in the house today, you guys. This is really exciting for me. And this is exciting for me because I think this guy's great. And I think he's going to totally crush it. They told me that they were doing this at the work, and I was like, I think this is a great idea, and I want to help be at the forefront of this. So, Dave,
Hi, Pat.
take it away, man. Make my life better. Fix it.
We got,
Already said go.
I don't know if we've got a spare 2 months to sort that out.
Oh, throwing shade. Listen, you take your dry sense of humor and just.
Well, the thing with Pat is he says that he doesn't follow all the stuff that Dave talks about, but I think he really does secretly.
I do. I believe in it. The 4-hour work week, all about that shit. Come on, I don't want to work more than 4 hours a week. It's ridiculous.
I don't think. When was the last time you worked more than 4 hours in a week?
That's neither here nor there. Let's fake news. Fake news. Moving on. So I played James Brown because that is the song that Dave came out to at the. So Joe went up and talked for a little bit. How long did you talk for?
Probably, I don't know, 15 minutes.
Yeah, you did the introduction.
Yeah, I did the introduction. We had some business to take care of, and then I introduced Dave, and
He came up to James Brown.
came up to James.
And why
Brown.
James Brown?
Well, you can use James Brown. You can use a variation of songs. I use James Brown, this song in particular, or the other song he does with is "Sex Machine."
Oh, yeah.
Not for that reason, but for the lyrics that he uses, because it's "Get Up" and it was in the morning, so it means you kind of inspiring them to kind of get started, get up, wake up. You can sometimes use "Wake Up." It's a beautiful morning. That does the same thing. As well.
There it is. There it is. Okay, so, and tell me, like, influence-wise, who are the guys? Obviously Tony Robbins. But I see you reading books out by the pool all day, and I'm like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm just at the office.
I'm at the office. Yeah.
Looking at the water.
the water. So yeah, you know, there's a lot of. I mean, Tony Robbins is. You mentioned the 4-hour work week, which was interesting because Tim Ferriss is as well. He's a big influence on some of the stuff that I do as well in terms of business related to then this activity. But there's been a lot of influences from previous individuals that I've worked with. And I'm not just saying this because Joe's here, but like Joe recently did talks for his company as well, and it's good to use people like that who do the job to then go out there and try and inspire others. And so I've always been inspired by people that I've worked with who've done similar things and
Sure.
interested in the same passion.
So what if you had to break it down into like what are the most important attributes that you find kind of similarly between some of these people and their teachings, like in motivation? And because what would you even call the?
Well, that's the thing, because they don't like being called motivational speakers because it's more of a belief or a way.
So what do they want to be called?
Ah,
super happy,
super
fun
happy,
time
yeah.
guys.
But energy is big.
Energy promoters.
Energy promoters.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
That's actually a good way to put it. I think that's right.
Energy the promotion of energy, and within a business, it makes it's kind of
Well, a lot of those guys that Dave just mentioned, it's not about business per se. It's more about just life. It's about how do you take control of who you are and what you want to do, and how do you achieve those goals.
What are we in control of, Jay?
That's right. We're in control of ourselves.
Is this some of this? Okay. See, this is what I want to get into here. Really, like I'm asking all these. What do you do? What was important to you? I don't care. What I want is for you to give me like a. So let's pretend. Let's go back to Friday. Let's take it right on back to Friday, and it's early in the morning, and you are trying to motivate people, and you happen to walk into a room, and it is an audience of one, and that's not the song that you motivate people to.
You could motivate people to that.
I mean, you certainly could. It's all about making money. All right. There he is. He's in. He's in the mode. Everybody give it up for Davey Robbins. Yeah. Woo, woo.
I just ruined myself.
Yeah.
It's a low point in my early career.
Woo. All right. So let's hear it. Let's hear your spiel.
Well, here we go. I'll get into it. I'll talk about the dynamics of it. I'm not going to get into my spiel because you really have to be there. Early promotion.
Sure. There you go. Nice. See, I like you. You're on it. It's a business head.
It's a business head. But the dynamics are really is getting people to understand that they can make a choice, and that choice is that they can choose to be whatever state that they want to be in for that day. And that's Tony Robbins talks about that loads. But then I take things from them sessions, things that I've learned from in the past, and I then put them into an aspect of the working environment. So, or whatever you're tailored to do in your career, etc. Joe's was quite similar to the career that I used to work in. So, in terms of being in a large corporation and understanding how office culture works, and it's about getting people to choose to understand that when they wake up, when they walk in, when they walk through that door, they can be the person that they want to be. You learn two things, I think. The fear of loud noises, the fear of falling over. They're the only things you naturally know when you're a kid. Everything else is learned. Swear words, how you want to act, how you want to behave, what you want to drink. Mm-hmm. Speaking of drink.
It's like, yeah, there you go. Use a lot of swear words, drink a lot of alcohol. I'm into it.
And the idea is...
And it's not my fault. I learned that.
Yeah. The idea is...
I just don't want to fall over.
Is when you speak to your work colleagues, your friends, your loved ones, your clients or customers, as I spoke about with Joe's team, is you can choose the energy that you want to put into the room, you want to put into yourself, and you can always look for the positive things in any outcome. I use a specific equation. Joe, do you want to say what?
I believe it was E plus R equals O.
All right.
And let's test Joe here. What does it stand for?
E stands for the event.
That's correct.
R stands for the reaction, and O stands for the outcome.
Yeah, and that says basically what you put into what happens, what you put into it, or how you take from that, what you want to take from it, will always influence the outcome.
Hot fire. That's my brain exploding. I love it. I mean, it all makes sense too. You know what I mean? Like, and I probably tend to hide from things like this, like these type of like, you can take control of your own life, because I've worked in an industry for so long where I feel like everything's out of my control a lot of the times, where it's like, I can do what I can work as hard as I want. It doesn't mean that I'm going to book a role or that I'm going to have the outcome that I want necessarily, because there's a lot of kind of like other aspects that are going into kind of, cock blocking, like from the universe. You know what I mean? Yeah, sure. But that being said, it still is helpful when I have those moments in my life where I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to decide to podcast every day and really crush it when Brian's gone. I feel better about myself, and I become more productive, and I'm working harder, and you realize that you can take a little bit of control back. I think one of the things that holds people back from this, and this is just straight up, kind of like realizing it as I'm saying it, is for me, listening to someone or taking their advice that wholeheartedly would almost feel like, and this is totally ego driven, but like almost feel like giving up. Like that I've given up being able to control my own life, and now I need a set of rules and like, expectations that I need to kind of put on myself. Otherwise I will, get lost again and kind of start to feel like.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, and Dave and I have talked a lot about this, but everybody's got their own.
I don't want to look like a fucking pussy.
I'm not listening to you.
That's literally.
Stop trying to help me. I'm fine.
That's literally the response I get from Pat every time at the pool, where I'm like, "Come on, Pat, let me have a chat with you." And
Yeah,
he's
right.
Not. Dude, why don't you take your motivational book and put it right up your, stick it right down your throat, and stop speaking words in my face. I'm good. I'm fine. I got no problems. I think my tooth died when I fell down the elbow room stairs, but I'll be fine. Deal with that when we come to it.
The tooth turned brown.
Oh,
it's like dead.
It's not happening yet, but I might have to get a grill. That's a big deal.
cool.
I'm in the South. Yeah, I can pull it off. All right, so fix my life, Dave.
You were going to say something, Joe. Actually.
Yeah, I mean, Pat's biggest issue. Pat's biggest issue. No,
Oh, good God.
No, I think most people, when they think about either their industry or their job or their career or their life in general, it's you gotta find purpose. You gotta figure out what's the purpose of what you're trying to do, and once you figure out the purpose, you could just kind of reverse engineer everything back to your daily activities. So
Boom.
When you talk about Pat, when you talk about acting or the entertainment industry, they're probably things that you can control on a daily basis. And you got to figure out what those are, and depending on what your purpose in life is, you got to work towards that goal. So, if it's booking a bunch of auditions, I mean, Atlanta's blowing up. You could do 10 auditions a day if you wanted to.
Okay.
You control that.
Oh, come on.
You have that control, Pat.
But listen, this is what you're making me do.
Let me use
Shut up. Shut up. Stop trying to help.
Let me use a live example from this Patcast.
God. What have I done?
Pat's already stipulated about bailing on open mic night tonight, and I think the thing is, what I'm going to say is that's the energy, that's the commitment you put into yourself. If you are in control of doing that, you're in control of saying no, you're in control of saying yes, and that's the power of the choice.
A decision to say yes or no.
Son of a bitch. What have I done? They're both sitting on the other side of the table just staring at me. All right, we're going to Instagram this just because it's got to be live. There it is. You guys judging me? Yeah, we're judging
you big time.
Yeah, they're judging me.
Big style judgment going on.
Tell them to stop judging. My head looks tiny in these headphones. You should judge me. I look ridiculous. There they are. Judgy. Judgy number one, judgy number two. All right, so if you had to, let's what are your core principles, Dave? Like if you had to, so let's say that this is now, you are fast forward into 5 years in the future, and you have a book, and you have 3 core principles that you base the way that you think people should motivate themselves to take advantage of to coordinate energy. What were we calling them? energy promoters to promote energy positive energy within their life. Like, what would be the 3 core things that you would nail people with? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Take
that's
it.
right.
You're gonna
Yeah,
challenge me,
yeah,
work harder in my life, work harder in yours.
Yeah, wow.
Where's your book at, dog?
Turned into an interviewer.
There it is, sitting at the pool, calling at the office. You motivating. Come on, let's go. 3 core principles.
This is where I
now.
parked my car. So, one of my main taglines that I'm kind of known for from doing some of the sessions is something I kicked off with Joe's team, and something I've talked about already here. So probably my first one is, what are you in control of? And Joe's already said it.
Yourself.
Yourself, yeah. So
Wham.
I think that's the biggest thing for me is to live by that. I've recently read a book at the pool in my office. It's a really good book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I've been banging on about it for everyone for a while. I've got a queue of people waiting to read it.
Sometimes those things just don't
Where's
translate.
the book right now?
It's all broken. He was banging it.
No, someone's got it.
Some of those things just don't work.
My friend Kira's got it at the moment.
What chapter is she on?
Oh yeah, she is on chapter 8, but I gave her a deadline because
And she did not-
She did not keep to this
She
deadline.
controls that.
She
the
does
ability to
control.
know
She
what
does
to do.
control. Yeah.
I like
However,
it. Keep
yeah,
going, ladies.
Sorry, yeah, she doesn't. She's still got that book because you're next in line, Joe.
I've been waiting for
and
it,
you've
yeah.
been waiting a while. So yeah, he can tell he's a little bit angsty. About
Well, when everyone's done reading it, and let me know. I'll totally.
I think
check it
so.
out.
There are
I've read a book in like 6 years, and that's just being generous. It's like 12.
Well, you've got 55 minutes of audio to listen to. Pat,
Oh,
so,
yeah.
you can-
Well,
you can
we're
have that
gonna
for free.
we're gonna make that. Okay, so here's
have
the
that
thing
for free.
too. So because we do need to kind of wrap this up here. We're getting close to getting time to wrap, and it's a terrible thing. I know.
Do you have the other 2 real quick?
The free principles.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
are you in
yeah. Oh,
control
yeah.
of?
That's right. You're not done.
Sorry, yeah,
I wasn't listening.
What are you control of? I can handle this is a big statement to say. Whatever comes along, can you actually handle it? And I used a quote from the Tony Robbins with Joe in terms of like people would to have your problems would die for it. And that was a really powerful statement that Tony Robbins said, like, because when you think about the whole world, it's like, yeah, actually, are my problems that big? And then the third one's just have fun. I mean, enjoy yourself.
Yeah, there it
Enjoy
is.
yourself.
I like that
That's
one.
my guy.
good. Enjoy
That's my guy. That's UK Dave right there. Enjoy yourself. Okay, and also because I want to get a couple sound bites out of this, and we haven't. And I would like to pull them from the audio from the 55 minutes, but we didn't have time to listen to that before he crushed Brian on the podcasting game. So, what else?
Oh, what else? I use my own things.
What else?
What else?
What else?
Well, you'll have to find out in the game room.
Yeah, coming on down to the. Okay, so we should come up with a. What's our hashtag that we're having people like hit us up on Twitter? And also, Dave is working on his social media, so why don't you plug yourself?
Oh,
because
yes.
I don't know what your shit is.
I actually don't know what my shit is.
It's
David _ Latham is.
Yeah,
my
I think
Instagram.
it's David _ Latham
Latham.
Instagram.
LATHAM.
Oh, can I just tell a really interesting
AM?
story? M for mother. However, M for Mike. That's the correct one.
And for mother's good. I bet it got you laid once or twice.
Tell me, what was my name on the agenda for your meeting, Joe? Not to.
So I spelled Dave's last name wrong. I put Lapham. LAPAM.
Lapham.
Lapham.
Yeah.
Lap
I
ham.
thought that sounded quite.
You're a bit of a fucking lap ham.
Spelling was not my strong point.
All mine in the session, actually. To be fair.
So what's our hashtag? So let's come up with something right now. So it's hashtag Davy Robbins. Hashtag oh no.
I might get in trouble for Davy Robbins.
No Davy Robbins. You know what we'll do? We'll do hashtag what is it? Energy promoter.
Energy promoter.
Yeah, let's keep thinking on that.
Let's keep thinking.
Okay, we don't like that.
All
All right. We got to come up with something now because what are we gonna like?
Well, let's go with Davy Robbins, and if I get in trouble, I get in trouble.
You're not gonna get in trouble for Davy Robbins. We know his assistant. We could get you some FaceTime.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I can't. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We're getting towards the end of the podcast. Just pouring that last beer, and it's not a big deal because Brian's not here. When Dad's away, the kids they party. They party real hard. This is me looking through audio stuff.
So, Pat, are you going to go to stand-up tonight? Open mic?
Oh, wait. Sorry. I would answer that, but I think I kind of got to take this one. Hello. This is the Patcast. Who's there?
Favorite brother, Killian. Don't worry, I won't tell Brian. I'm loving the new Patcast. I think when Brian comes back, you guys should change the name to Pat's Points. Anyway, keep up
that's
the good work,
good.
man. Talk
Thanks,
to you soon.
bud.
Bye.
Yeah, later. Ooh, Pat's Points. Pat's Points.
It's nice to hear him.
square.
I've
That's
never
not
met,
bad.
I've not met Killian.
You haven't met Killian? Oh, man, Killian's the best. Killian's the best.
He's a
the best
bigger
brother.
version of Pat.
That's fair-ish. I mean, he's really responsible.
Oh yeah, totally. Way
Which
more
is
responsible than Pat.
which is a little bit different. I'm not irresponsible. You know what I mean? I just well, and Dave just changed my life. So, and you know what? Let's go down an awkward road, and I'm going to tell you guys some really, really honest stuff. Uh-oh, I was going to, but I can't because I just got another call. Let's see. Answer this guy. Hello, it's the Moot Points Patcast.
Patrick, this is your mama.
Oh, hey, Mama.
I just wanted to call you and tell you I've been listening to the Moot Point Podcast.
You have?
You are hilariously funny.
Oh, Mom.
I just so enjoyed them.
Thank you. Thank you, Mom. Wow. You know, she never does that when it's
That's
just
a
me and
big
Brian.
deal.
That is a
It's
big
huge.
deal.
It's a huge deal.
That is a big deal. She loves me. She really, really loves me. Let's see. We got one more. We got another caller. All right. Well, I guess we could take this one. Hello.
My name is Ron, and I love the Moot Points podcast. Yeah.
All right.
Who is that?
I think that was Haroon.
You said wrong.
I know. Well, he says Ron, but his name is Haroon.
Legend. Haroon is a legend.
He is legendary.
Everyone needs one.
You know what? He's gonna be out here. He's gonna be out here soon. He's coming back out. I think in like 2 weeks. So we'll have him on the podcast. Whoa! Coming in hot. Who is that?
hot.
Sorry, guys. Wow. All right. Well, we'll get this. Jeez, who is? Hello. You just blast our ears.
Hello, Patrick.
Oh,
It's your mother.
You're back.
Just wondering if that was what you had in mind for my voicemail.
What? No.
If
Oh.
it wasn't, you could give
I-
me some coaching, and I would try it again.
No. It's
I'm just heading down the next
okay.
call.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you later. It was.
She's looking for coaching.
She's looking. Oh.
I thought she did. I thought she did pretty good. I didn't think she needed any coaching. You guys get to peek behind the curtains. Oh, it's pretty fun. That's good stuff. All right. Well, we should cut this off because we're almost at 45 minutes right now. You guys got any final words? Got any words of wisdom? Joe, you first.
Well, hang on. We gotta touch on the at the end of the show. Did we?
Well, I mean, yeah, we don't have a hashtag yet. So, David Latham, everybody hit me up. Hashtag Davy Robbins.
Davy Robbins.
Yeah, with the hashtag Davy Robbins. If you are interested in coming to our Davy Robbins Promotes Energy at the L event.
It's an all-day event.
It's an all-day event.
Starts at 8.
8 a.m.
Lunch is provided.
Starts at 8:02.
8:02.
8:02.
You're right. Damn it.
Why 8:02?
Why not, Pat?
All right. What else?
It's $99 for the day.
Okay. Yeah. $99
And we're
for
gonna
the
have
day.
And we're gonna have a bunch of guest speakers.
Yes, and we're gonna rent out the game room, and there'll be a point where everyone can jump in the pool and like hang out and like practice some of the pillars of his
Success.
wisdom. Thank you, Dave.
Brian Moote is gonna do a stand-up over lunch.
He'll do some bits.
So,
yeah.
He's committed to that already.
Yeah,
he is
he's committed. He's in.
We got to put that
He's
on
in.
his to-do list.
Yep,
His
we have it right here.
His get-did list.
Yeah, get did.
Get
We
did.
got the get it did. That's my list. The get did list. All right, so hashtag Davy Robbins. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit up anybody that you want on Twitter. I'm just derailing now. I can't keep focused for long enough to be able to be in charge of a podcast like this.
okay,
But
just
I have a feeling that we did better than Brian. We had
we
all
did
these
good.
callers. We did.
yeah, of
I think
course.
we did pretty good. I feel pretty good. Who's this? Oh, we're cruising out on the Cooley Bros. Cooley! Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that was the Moot Points Patcast. thank you all so much for listening, and don't listen to Brian. Just kidding. Just let us know who you like better, because next week we're actually going to talk about who killed it, who didn't. Brian's going to probably be mad about the levels of everything from the whole show, but I think I killed it. You guys got anything else? Say something.
I'm good. Good job, Dave. Yeah, good job, Jim.
Yeah. What else?
Thank you, Dave. What else?
What else?
You're in control.
Ourselves.
Take a couple more shots, another round on it. Take it to the head and let the fool win it. That's the coolie way. When I get it, I'ma act the fool with it.
New edition on the BET Awards. Lifetime Achievement.
You're going to get it. Welcome to the Moot Points Podcast, Round 2. You just heard Patrick close out his half of the podcast with UK Dave and financial analyst Joe. I want to clear up a little fake news right out the gates. He accused me of stealing a microphone cable to sabotage his podcast. That's not true. I always have to bring 2 cables with me when I'm mobile. Welcome to my half of the podcast. Comedian, one of my really good friends from Cleveland, Ohio, but now based out of West Hollywood, California, Ryan Dalton. Ryan, welcome to the Moot Points Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
We are sitting in a backyard in West Hollywood amongst... Oh, that's an avocado tree above us.
Wow.
Yeah, there's one avocado on it dangling down still.
Oh, wow. And there's an orange tree over there, too.
Bunch of and palm trees and some cactus.
And a transformer with high-tension power lines.
Yeah, that's probably
very dangerous, and an earthquake would probably cause instant death if it was to connect to the ground.
Being stressed to the max by the current power load going into every AC unit in the neighborhood because it's 91 degrees right now. And we're drinking Miller Lights underneath an umbrella. So it couldn't get any better.
This bubble is not a bad bubble
nice
to be in right now,
huh? Ryan, you, from Cleveland originally. How long have you been doing stand-up for?
Stand-up comedy, I would say altogether a little over, I'd say 17 years.
You lived in New York. 17 years, man.
17 years, but I'm like professionally like 12. Like that was my only job.
But you moved to New York like immediately just to do stand-up, didn't you? Didn't you start in New York?
I did not start. I started in Cleveland, and like I was just learning how to be good at doing stand-up, then becoming a good host, then like being good enough to have a feature set, and that's when I moved to New York.
And then New York, it was not. See, so you moved to New York, and then. I mean, I think you did well in New York, right? You did pretty well.
Not really. I had this awful mentality of like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move to New York City. I'm now a new feature on the road. I'm going to take all the billions of dollars I make from featuring, opening for headlining comics, and I'm just going to pay my bills with that money because I got all that feature work. So basically, that backfired. At best, I was on the road 3 weeks out of a month or sometimes a month straight just so I could afford to be at a place I was only at for a combined week a month.
Well, see, that's the funny thing about comedy. So feature, if you don't know how comedy goes, I'll break it down. I don't think I've ever done this on the show before. Traditionally, you have a host, comes up, does 10 minutes, and if you're on the road, it's maybe a local idiot radio host who comes up and is like, hey, what about the traffic on 285? What about, hey, did you guys go to the Cumberland Mall today? Cumberland Small, more like it.
That's a really good Brian Moote impression.
that's why, man, that's why they pay me the big bucks, Ryan. That's another awful road host joke. That's why they pay me the big bucks, man. Come in the headliner. They do like 10 minutes, and then the feature act does 25 to 30 depending on the club, maybe 20 if there's a guest spot, who knows. Then the headliner comes in and does 60. But the difference in pay in comedy is hilarious to me because people, I remember I thought it. I was like, they're going to pay me to go on the road, $100 a show. That was like 8 years ago when I started getting paid to do stand-up. Stand-up is the only career that has not gone up 1 penny with inflation. It is still, you were getting paid $100 a set to feature in 1986, you're getting paid $100 in 2017 to feature. And so when you go on the road, like you were just saying, you were on the road 3 weekends a year in New York, you're getting paid like $700 for the weekend, but you have travel on top of that. Mm-hmm. You also you're picking up way too many bar tabs because you're trying to hook up with the waitress or something, or some girl who lives in Buffalo. And then you come back to New York and you're there for 3 days. You try to do a couple bum, like bummy spots at like Stand Up New York on like their 6:30 p.m. showcase show, and then you're back at it on the road again. So you almost feel like there's no point in doing it.
Right.
You get like worn down. You did that, but when did you do Live at Gotham on Comedy Central? Was that when you were living in New York, or had you moved back to Cleveland?
I moved back to Cleveland because I ran out of money. And then a friend of mine, Steve Byrne, his agency at the time, or his manager or the agency he worked for, they booked this show called Live at Gotham on Comedy Central.
It was like the reboot of their showcase show, which was originally Premium Blend.
Yeah, and it was just cheaper. It was inside a comedy club, and I got on that via a tape. And this is funny because I was living in New York and I couldn't get booked in that comedy club. But I moved back to Cleveland, and I get booked on a TV show filmed at that comedy club.
That's so, man, this business has such a way of having moments where you get kicked in the junk, and then you feel like you made it, and then like, just kidding, kick in the junk again. I remember when they were doing Live at Gotham, that was the show to get on in that year period. I think it was like 2005 to 2010 or 2011, and that was the show to get on for a young comic who's like, yeah, get on. 2 years in a row, I was living in Boston, and they did showcases in both years. I came close, and they told me like, hey, you know, we're not going to book you, but you're very close, and if we have a fallout, you live close, you live in Boston, so you'll be one of the people on our call if somebody cancels list, which is just another like unnecessary piece of hope to give me. They're like, make sure you're free in this week in August. I'm like, I would cancel going to like anyone's funeral, wedding, whatever to do this show. That's how bad I want to be on it. I end up going to the tapings anyway. And I'm with my brother Killian, my youngest brother Killian, and we're sitting in the Gotham Comedy Club has a little comedy club that they use, kind of like their new talent night, open mic-y stuff in the basement. But on those shoots, as you know, they have it. It's like the green room, right? They're downstairs in the green room, and my little brother is over talking to Kent Alterman, right, at the head of Comedy Central, and they're just talking it up, having drinks, like buying drinks. He's buying them shots and stuff. And I was like so scared. I went over there and I was like stuttering when I was talking to him. And Killian's like, hey, this is my brother Brian Moote. He's a really funny comic. And Kent was like, oh, yeah, good to meet you. You're a funny comic. I run Comedy Central. And I'm like, I work at Comedy Central. I'm like, yeah, I know that. I know you work at Comedy Central. And I'm panicking. Killian's like, you just got to have confidence, man. You have no confidence. I'm like, Killian, This kid is like still in college and just getting and the CEO or the VP or president of Comedy Central is buying him drinks in the basement, right? So then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be confident. The next person who looks like they work at Comedy Central, I'm gonna introduce myself and I'm gonna have drinks with them. Now I went up and I shook this guy's hand and he's like, hey, let me buy you a drink. And I was like, sure, cool. And I'm like, this is already working. Killian was right. So we're having a drink, and he's like, and the first question out of his mouth was like, because he seemed like he knew me already, and I was like, oh, maybe I've met this person before at like a festival or something. Like the first sentence out of his mouth was like kind of weird. It was like, hey, so how's living in L.A.? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm in Boston right now. He's like, oh, Boston, interesting choice, you know. He's like, you know, I heard the comedy's great up there, you know, maybe. And I'm like, yeah, it's good to get up and do a bunch of shows and stuff. And he goes, yeah, but how was I saw your set on the Tonight Show.
Oh no!
It was great. And I was like,
oh no!
I haven't done the Tonight Show. And he goes,
oh no!
Are you not Michael Costa?
Oh no!
And I was like, no, I'm a different white comedian at 6'4" with brown hair. I'm Brian Moote. He's like, oh man, okay.
We all look alike,
I'm sure I've
man.
met you before. And then it was like we had this awkward moment where it was like someone turned the lights on after a one-night stand, and you want to back away slowly because you're embarrassed of your decision.
Right.
But so you just linger in for a second, like, yeah, it's okay, cool. And then he's like, well, it's good talking to you, man. I wish you luck on all your future projects. And walked off, and I was like, I want to punch Killian right in the face. But the confidence worked, but I was so confident I came off as Michael Costa.
Right.
In the entire thing. So you moved back to Cleveland, and then you moved to LA to live with me at the Sheet Palace.
Yes.
What year was that?
That was, I believe, it was 2013. I'd done a spot. I'd gotten a couple lines on a TV show called Sullivan and Son on TBS at the time, and I came back out to be like. I think it's when I came to live at you. It was probably 2014 or 15.
Had to be 14. I moved to Seattle
14.
to do radio
Right.
shortly after that. But yeah, you moved and you stayed.
I think
so-
you were in the process of moving to Seattle as I was coming in there because you were gone a lot.
Oh yeah, did you get? And you got to stay in a room, not the floor. Because the first
No, I
time
didn't stay in a room. I stayed on this.
you had your little. We had made a little
mattress.
futon corner.
Yeah.
So our apartment, to paint a picture, and we are literally 6-7 blocks from the apartment, almost the same address. We're at 1322.
Yeah.
And we were 1354 or 1355 Poinsettia, which is very close to where we're sitting at right now, enjoying Miller Lights in a backyard. But we had a 2-bedroom apartment with a severely oversized living room.
Right.
Like unbelievably oversized.
Yeah.
And we were going to put 3 people in it the whole time. We made the sheet room. I've talked about the sheet room before, my glorious sheet room. And then to make it even, more of a comedy flop house, we had this. We couldn't get rid of this futon. I'm like a pack rat. I can't get rid of stuff. So we had this futon, just a mattress.
Yes.
I had 2 of them initially.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to get rid of it, so I just had it like in the corner, looking like a chair, propped up like it. We didn't have the frame. And then when people would stay with us for extended periods of time, we just pull that sucker out onto the floor, lay it flat, and then leave all our stuff. You kind of have your own room. So it was 2 grown men sleeping in separate beds, but 8 feet from each other, like an awful hotel room.
No. An awful hotel room has been cleaned from time to time.
We never cleaned
let me
that.
explain.
We didn't even
You're
own
not
a vacuum.
painting the picture.
We didn't own a vacuum.
What you've done is you got a canvas out and you dip the brushes in a couple of different things to soften them up.
But I didn't.
Let me paint a picture.
Okay, you paint the picture, Ryan.
If anybody listening to this could put their face down to their carpet and imagine another carpet on top of that carpet, but that carpet consisted of dirt, hair, more dirt, and another layer. Like, it was disgusting.
I mean, sometimes you'd walk through there and you'd like barefoot, and that carpet. The carpet was awful. It was god awful. It was just a bunch of comedians who didn't.
You
care.
lived with 2 hilarious comedians, Brant Tobler,
Andrew
Slater, and for some reason they were just on a strike against doing cleaning. It
I
was
used
like,
to do the
they were
dishes all the
cleaning
time.
anarchists. They were like, no, I'm not cleaning anything. And there were times I returned to that place when the fridge smelled like a science experiment, or at least some sort of Spider-Man villain was growing inside. It was disgusting.
It was.
I mean, the commitment to not doing anything almost as admirable as if they did it all the time.
It was
cleaned all the time.
It was pretty amazing. I mean, you could walk through there sometimes, and there were so many like layers of dirt and crumbs embedded into the carpet.
Oh my
that
God!
You would there'd be crumbs and dirt on your feet, stuck to your feet, like just dirt there.
It was. To say it was a flop house is a disappointment. It was just right in between flop house and place where I not out doing heroin. It was right in between that.
It was, if you walked in there, if you had like a rapper walk in there, they'd be like, trap house. It's a trap house.
Ashley
You
was
guys are
literally
dealing
my wife Ashley stayed there one night and was horrified. One night she's like, "You stayed there?"
But you guys stayed in Andrew's room though, didn't
No,
you?
we stayed in the mat because she was visiting at the time, and I'm like, this is where I stay. Because during that week, I'd made arrangements because I'm not going to put my wife on the floor in this hostel. So I made arrangements around the city to stay. Like I stayed with Jeff Dye's place, beautiful place. His
Comedian
home's
Jeff
beautiful.
Dye. He'll be out at the City Winery,
Roy
Ponce
Wood
City
Jr.
Market, August
was
4th.
generous enough to open his home to us. So I had 2 wonderful places.
You're
So Ashley's
referencing
like,
comedians that actually had made it at the time.
yeah,
made
I'm also
money.
like, and at this time, I'm trying to convince Ashley to move out here. So I'm definitely approaching her like some NC2A scout, is totally just shim-shamming all over some high school prospect.
It's like you start out with like the luxury dorms, and we're going out to these restaurants, and hey, there's some strippers and stuff.
You would think I was recruiting Chris Webber to
and
the Fab Five.
You're not even getting to the actual student housing you're going to stay in your freshman year until right at the end of the trip.
Just lies and promises. And look at these wonderful homes. Look at this place. We can afford this.
I think we distracted her with. When she stayed, we distracted her with like how much fun the neighborhood was, and that's
it
how
really
you know.
is. We do have fun here.
But that's how you know that when your number one bullet point to sell it is, hey, but Jones down on Santa Monica Boulevard, their happy hour at 10 o'clock.
I got to tell you,
$5
if there was
pizzas.
no Jones, we may not be here.
Not this
and
neighborhood.
Jones still our favorite restaurant. I had date night last night. I went to Jones.
Last night I was walking through the neighborhood with my brother's friend Haroon, who will be on the podcast next episode because he's hilarious. And he works for Delta Airlines, and he kind of based out of L.A. and also Atlanta at times. And we were walking through the neighborhood, and I was like, I forgot that West Hollywood is like 500 crazy people away from being just one of the most beautiful neighborhoods you could live in. But there's like 500 people who live on the streets and I saw some of the same people that I used to see all the time.
Yeah.
Who
Poinsettia Pete.
Poinsettia Pete, who has no respect for, I mean, he had a little more respect than others, but who have no respect for like the cleanliness in the neighborhood. They just throw garbage all over when they're done with it.
I clean up after these fools, by the way.
I mean, it's just so relaxing. I was sitting out on the front porch this morning working on some stuff for the show, and then all of a sudden I'm like, man, Hollywood, I miss Hollywood. And all of a sudden here's some guy going, walking up the street with one shoe on. With one shoe on, his pants are all ripped, and his hair is like, he just like a mangy and mess. And I'm like, if we could only get you help in an area that wasn't the front street of Cherokee Avenue, right below Hollywood Boulevard, this would be amazing, because this neighborhood is so close to being beautiful. It just lacks the social service resources for a lot of people. It's just kind of like it's kind of out on its own. But the building we lived at, Poinsettia, I mean, our neighbors there were insane. Did you meet, when you were there, the crazy rapper / producer / we found out he's a drug dealer one night when he was face down in handcuffs on the street?
All in his Lakers gear? He always wore Lakers gear?
Yeah, always wore Lakers gear.
Because I talk basketball with him every once in a while.
And he was, I can't remember.
Very serious dude. Very serious.
I mean, his business card had like 16 slashes on it. He was a rapper, producer, actor, model. And took everything very serious.
Yeah, well, that means you're good at all those things.
He had no sense of humor.
All you do is you take what you are, and then you add about 1 million different other things, and that instantaneously means, oh my God, this guy can do it all. Yeah. That's all you do. You just write words on paper. That means you can do it.
So
I got to start doing more of that.
Write all your dreams down, like your vision board?
No, just on my business card. It just put just believe that I'm as good as the one thing that I'm only good at, and put it on my business card.
The key is
it's brilliant. It's a brilliant idea.
The key is you can have them all in the same genre. So if it's entertainment, keep it entertainment oriented. The places that he would fall off is that he would say, like, at the end of it, he'd be like, accountant. And you're like, no, you're not.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
You had me up until accountant.
You are not a ninja and an accountant.
I was like rapper, actor, model, producer, accountant. No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. If I need you to hide money, I'll come to you. But I will say one thing, is that we didn't get a lot of door-to-door marketers in that building, because it was kind of flagged by a lot of people as a building with a crazy person in it who would flip out on you at the front door. And I talked to another guy who lived in the building, can't remember his name, but he was always, he was like the roadie. He was the dude who was like always jamming out, like air drumming. He's probably in his like late 60s. He looked like he was a roadie for like the Grateful Dead and for all these rock bands. But he's real shifty. He had tinfoil over his windows, which meant like something was going on in there.
Oh, I didn't see that dude ever.
Anytime you see someone with aluminum foil over their windows, unless they're like a photographer and that's their dark room, there's something going on in there that's wild. Or they're afraid of the government.
It's pretty smart when you're trying to refract heat from getting in your apartment.
I mean, that also, I didn't think about that.
I did. It's a cheap fix, but very hillbilly.
Oh, is it really?
I mean, you got to think all it is a metal sheet, and all does it do?
Cheap AC. You're just keeping those.
It's just a mirror.
Keeping the heat out of your apartment. I didn't think about that. He told me why though, because the black dude, the rapper, actor, producer, director, always in his Lakers gear, he had a flip out incident on someone who was selling Herbalite, like the vitamins.
Yeah.
Herbalite.
And
this was the exchange that they had. He said he heard Herbalite. Bitch, you think I smell weird? You think I need some Herbalite? He thought it was herbal essences. He thought the lady was trying to sell him like
shampoo.
The smell
that makes you
smell
like
good shampoo, moan in the shower. Yeah. And he flipped out. He threw Yellow Pages that was on the deck or on the patio, because they drop off Yellow Pages all the time.
Yeah.
Stacks of Yellow Pages on our apartment steps. He threw a Yellow Pages and like hit this chick like in the back of the head, and then cops came and he got arrested for like assaulting a lady with like a Dex Yellow Pages.
Well, there you go.
That's why you keep those Yellow Pages off the steps.
Yeah, no, there you go. The Yellow Pages are finally good for something.
We had them in the building.
Free projectile.
also had the crazy naked old Russians. Did you ever have a run-in with the
you
naked
did.
old Russians?
You had an interesting run-in. I never got to see them. I knew they were old, but I never got to really see them. You had a disturbing run-in with
I
them.
had numerous disturbing run-ins. One of them was we would always, because, well, clearly no one vacuumed in our apartment.
Oh,
we
my
didn't
God.
own a vacuum.
I did. No, I think you did. Did you not?
I feel like we couldn't have owned a vacuum.
I
if someone
remember
would-
running it, or somebody
we
running
did.
one.
We
and
did.
I'm just like, it probably didn't even.
We had
It
to
probably
empty-
didn't even suck.
We had to empty the bag like 2 strokes into it. It was like mowing a lawn. Like, you ever mow a lawn
yes.
that hasn't been mowed in like 3
It's
years?
so disgusting.
And you have to like empty the lawnmower bag like every time you get one push across the yard.
It's so
was
gross.
vacuuming that apartment.
Oh,
just
God
and
damn it!
just layers of dog
It's
hair.
disgusting.
Just Dorito crumbs.
If you committed a crime in there, it'd be impossible to prove because of all the DNA left
Yes,
behind
it
from
was-
animals, people. It's just ugh. Gross.
Yeah, we had at one point in time we had me, my roommate Andrew Slater, my other roommate Ryan Kreppen, who is a producer for Showtime at the time, and his girlfriend Jackie, who was also a producer at Showtime. They were living in the same room, and I had a 2-month-old long-haired Chihuahua puppy named Moxie, and every time someone made a loud noise, she'd just sit down and pee right on the floor. So there's a lot of that in there. I mean, I cleaned it as best I could, but the problem was if you cleaned one circle on our carpet with paper towel and like shout or scrub, whatever the carpet scrub is, then you'd have one clean circle, like a crop circle in a field.
Right.
And then you'd have to, so then we just have big clean circles all over the place where Moxie had peed. So maybe she was trying to retroactively encourage us to clean the apartment by peeing in spots knowing that we'd clean up after it.
Right.
Maybe. It's a theory. The crazy Russians, no one would lock the front door. Ever. A lot of times we'd have people staying with us who didn't have keys. When Brant Tobler, my comedian friend who's been on the podcast a few episodes ago talking about his book, Free Roll, he didn't have a key. He didn't have a wallet. He didn't have an ID. He just basically just rolled around with cash all the time. Didn't care. Didn't like having a key.
Trying to get away from Skynet, man.
Yeah, he'd hide his key all over the place. Sometimes he'd forget to. So we just stopped locking the door because a couple times he would lock himself out of the apartment and everyone's out doing stuff like shows or, doing something else. And we'd have to try to break into the apartment, which a lot of times came down to across the hallway from us, we're on the second floor, was knocking on our old Russian neighbor's door, who these old Russian folks, they didn't speak a lick of English. No words. None. And they lived in that apartment for like 35 years, but there's some Russian grocery stores. There's a Russian community center in West Hollywood. They didn't need to go. They could just stay in their little bubble. They were fine. And I don't even think that they changed off of Russian time, because I think they would just call people in Moscow all night long and then sleep during the day. They always had their blinds drawn. Their apartment was always like smelled like soup, and it was like way too hot and humid. Just had like a thick air in it. And you'd have to knock on their door and explain to them you're just going through their apartment to their back deck to like go through. And they were never wearing clothes because it was so hot. They always were in their underwear.
God damn it.
Always. So we'd have to go through the entire apartment and climb over the balcony and then get into ours because we'd leave the back thing unlocked. So eventually people stopped locking the door because they got sick of having to like...
Yeah, I remember staying there and I was just like, you guys leave the front door open when you're not here and you live in West Hollywood in Crime Central? And then Brant's like, look, if somebody wanted to break in, they'd just break in. And honestly, considering the only thing keeping from anybody breaking in that was not even a kick, but more like a nudge.
Nudge to nudge.
That was not a secure door.
Well,
he had a point.
Also, if you would have broken into our apartment, you're just helping us clean.
Yeah.
If you take anything from us, that's garbage. It's all hand-me-down furniture from comedians who either gave up on their dreams or had moved on to bigger and better places. Most of the furniture came when Jeff Dye moved out of his... after Last Comic Standing, moved out of his studio apartment on Gower Street, and we took the futon bed that he lived on, I'm sure violated profusely after taping a Comedy Central special, and because he was too successful, he didn't need that place anymore. He moved out with his girlfriend at the time, and we just took all the furniture. I remember him asking me, "Hey, dude, what do you want?" And I'm like, "Everything, all of it." Because right now I sleep in a bunk bed with my brother, and I'm gonna need that pull-out couch to sleep on as a real man. So we had that couch. I remember we got another couch from my aunt, like this weird, like easy chair couch that we tied to the roof of a Honda Civic and drove it back from Orange County. Wow. So it was just a collective mix of just garbage furniture. So if you broke in and took something, like we needed to get rid of that anyway. Like we needed to, it was garbage. So one night I'm sleeping, and I sleep in the living room, so I don't really have a lot of like high horse judgment here, capabilities for these poor old Russian people. But at about 3 a.m, and I'm probably a little drunk. We probably got home from a comedy club. It's late. The door just opens up. The door opens, and I jump out of bed, and I go into the living room, and there is a fully. No, at this time he was half naked. I have another fully naked story of him too, but half naked. He's a half naked old man in my apartment in his underwear. He's got a phone in one hand, like a landline with an antenna, and someone on the phone is yelling at me in Russian. And on the other hand, he's got a huge pill, like a tube, canister of prescription medications, and he's pointing at him, and he's feverishly asking me what to do. I'm assuming, but it was all in Russian. And he keeps handing me the phone. I'm like, hello? And they speak even less English than he does.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, and he keeps handing me stuff, and I'm like, and he goes, take. And I'm like, you want me to keep these? And no, he's pointing at himself. He's like, take. I'm like, sounds good, man. And he's pointing it at me like how many he's supposed to take. And I'm like, reading the thing, I'm like, 2. But I'm assuming you haven't taken any in the last little bit. So 2? Take 2? But also, I don't want to be responsible for, like, you overdosing. Is this for you or your wife? And his wife is now standing in the doorway across the hall screaming in Russian.
Oh, my God.
Screaming at him. He's screaming back.
Oh, my
I have to, like,
God.
kind of, like, usher him back into his apartment.
No.
And I just usher him, and I'm like, I don't know, dude. I'm not sure exactly. I don't know. And I shut the door, and then I put a note on the inside of the door being like, stop leaving this door unlocked because I can't have these old naked Russian people walking in here. Now, the next day, some family member of his is over there, and I'm talking to her, and I'm like, hey, do you guys, is this your a relative? And she's like, oh, it's my grandfather. I'm like, okay, cool, perfect. Hey, can I get, like, your cell phone number or something? Because when they wander into they wander over the apartment, like, needing help all the time, and they're way too old to be living alone, and she's like, no, just call the police. I'm like, I'm not going to call 911 on these old people when they're wandering around. And
That's
she was
her daughter?
Her granddaughter. And she's like, no, you can't have my number. Just call 911 if they need help. I'm like, they don't need help. They need someone who speaks Russian on the phone, and they apparently don't know how to call you. Can you leave them your number then? She's like, I'll handle it. It's my family. I'm like, clearly no one's handling it because I'm handling it.
Yeah.
And then, like, 2 weeks later, I get a knock on the door. It's the old lady. Oh, no. Oh, no, it's the old man again. Old lady.
Wacky next door neighbor.
She had fallen down naked in the living room.
Go on.
And she was like, had a sheet over her like she was a dead person in CSI or something. Like just laying.
No.
Like I could just see her eyes. I could just see her
no.
eyes. So I walk in initially. And I'm like, I'm not. No, dude.
No,
No,
I don't want to
I'm
witness
about to call
this.
the police. I can't be finding dead old Russian people.
Yeah.
Then I see her moving. She just needs help up onto the couch, and she's like pointing at the couch. And I'm like, oh my God, she's so naked. So I'm like trying to like move the sheet down. And it's the best part. Andrew Slater comes walking in the front door of their apartment. He goes, hey, is everything okay in here? Because I'm like, Andrew. And he comes walking in, and I go, dude, can you help me? He looks right at us. I'm like trying to lift this naked old woman off the ground. And he goes, that's all you, dude. And then went back in the apartment.
That's the most Andrew Slater thing Andrew Slater
And so
could
then
do.
I help this old woman. I lift her up, and she's like touching my face, and she's like whatever, saying in Russian, probably thank you. And I'm like, you're fine. Like I like my back, like I tweak my back or whatever. And I'm just like panicking, and I go back in. I'm like, Andrew, where are you? He's in his room, like hiding in his room.
Of course he is.
He's hiding in his room, and I go in there and I go, oh, dude, what? What was that? I was like, I was having an emergency. And he goes, I'm sorry, dude. I'm so sorry. Just like old people freak me out. And, like, I can't.
Emotionally
He's like,
dead.
I know what I did was like the worst thing, like the wrong thing to do. I couldn't, man.
he, you know what? God bless him, because he's like, this is who I am. This is who I am. I'm not going to pretend to be anything else.
Yeah, he literally just could not do it.
Nope. Old people. Nope.
And I helped the old man out of a bathtub naked one time, and I'm pretty sure he didn't have a penis. I don't know. It was a weird thing. Like he was
man.
like a eunuch or something. Or
Man.
maybe he's just old people.
Wow.
Junk. It was just those neighbors, that building. But it makes you appreciate what you got now with your wife.
Yeah. We
You guys
love our
live like-
place now.
You live like grown people.
Well, yeah, we live in a grown place just down the street from where I came up. You know what I'm saying? Poinsettia Palace.
Got your hard knocks.
Yeah,
in the
I know we have a
Poinsettia
beautiful place. It's just as hot though. I mean, I know it's tough for anybody to hear this, to feel bad for anybody who lives in Los Angeles, but when it's summer here, it is an oven, and it is very. If you don't have central air, oh my God, it is brutal.
I mean, it's 91 degrees right now.
Yeah,
or was earlier today.
I mean, if you go to shade, it's manageable, but if you're in a place that has no ventilation and it cooks, it's like it's an oven. You're staying in an oven.
I made this mistake. I flew in on
There's
Friday.
shade here. There's trees.
I flew in on Friday. My brother forgot. I was gonna stay at my brother's house because he's been staying in Atlanta with me, and so he's like, "Hey, you stay at my house when you go to LA." I'm like, "That's fantastic. That's great." Then like 2 days before I leave for LA, he goes, "Dude, I don't have my keys. I thought I had my keys, and then I just realized both my roommates are not home. They locked the apartment."
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "Don't worry though, no big deal. I had my roommate over 2-day air his Wednesday."
All right.
To the apartment or to my friend in LA. You'll have keys when you get there. It should be there by 11 a.m. Perfect. I fly in at 10:15. So I'll, catch the shuttle up to Hollywood. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be productive. I'm going to go for a run. By the time I'm done with the run, the keys will be ready to get picked up. I can go grab the keys, good to go, take a shower, get some work done, fine. Okay. So I get there about noon, and the keys are like, the mail hasn't shown up yet. I'm like, okay, so I'm at a coffee shop, I'm just doing some stuff, but I want to run. I want to make something productive in my afternoon. So about 12:30, hottest part of the day, I decide I'll go for a run about 4 or 5 miles, and I am dying, like sweating profusely. I get back, still no keys. Dude hasn't seen the mail, doesn't know where the mail's at. So I'm sitting outside on the stairs of my brother's apartment, and it's so hot, I can't cool off. Like I can't, it's like I'm living in a sauna now. And so I have to go for a walk. I'm like trying to find breeze. It took me about 35, 40 minutes to get to a point where I found a spot, like a street. I'm standing on a street corner on Santa Monica Boulevard, and I was just getting enough breeze from nature and cars driving by where I started to finally cool off. I finally like get myself to a manageable point as a sweaty person to like I feel okay with life. I go back, I sit down. There's still no keys. He's like, I don't know what's going on. Then my brother's heading out to bars in Atlanta because I'm 3 hours. He's 3 hours ahead of me.
Right.
I'm like, dude, please just don't get hammered and forget about me, man. I don't have anywhere to stay.
No.
Don't do it. Just don't do it. So then I go to a happy hour and meet up with some people, and I'm wearing like basketball shorts, like this shirt that I sweat all the way through once and is dried now, and I'm just like, it's awful. And you can't sit down on a bar stool with sweaty underwear that's dried. Like it doesn't feel right. It's like, but it like itches and stuff. You just want out of there, right? He finally calls me back at like 6 o'clock, and he's like, I have good news, dude. Haroon's out of town. You can just go to his house and take a shower and all this stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's your good news? Your good news is that I'm not staying at your house. He's like, I just found the tracking number, and they don't show up till Monday now, the keys. I mean, you got to be kidding me. So then I got to wheel my ass all the way across town, like, in 91-degree weather. And then once you start sweating for the day, it's over. You sweat the entire day.
You're done.
Like, you sweat. Like, I felt sweat trickle down my lower back while I was walking and just go between my butt cheeks, which is just one of those uncomfortable moments while I'm talking on the phone, like yelling at him, berating him for not having his own house keys like a grown man. He's like, I just left them at the house. I'm like, why?
Why would you do that?
Why would you? What if you needed him to go back and forth as your plan? So that was my sweaty Friday.
Well, I mean, Ashley's only lived in central air almost her entire life. So for me, as I said, I lived with you in Poinsettia Palace, which, again, was an oven. So, yes, this one room, we do have one air conditioner. It's in our bedroom. If it's on, you're comfortable. In any other room, well, guess what? It's summertime.
Sorry.
Deal with it in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Every other season, you can just open a window or close a window.
It's like
That's
open air.
But
It's
this
like,
one, there's no escaping it. And she, anytime gets in that heat, like yesterday, she was unbearable during the day. Just angry at me for things, just just being over upset, and I was like, this is really a problem for you.
Yeah, because
you can't live at this temperature.
You see it on their face, like, I'm miserable. It's like, we're all miserable. No one, they'll be, do you know what it's like to have boobs in the heat? I'm like, you know what it's like to have balls?
Yeah.
Do you think that that's a good situation? Do you just try to wrap your head around?
You think I like looking like I'm having a heart attack? I don't like and I sweat more than the average man, so I always look like I'm about to have a heart attack.
Like a little bit of
unhealthy.
like
I'm not sure. I'm about 1 second away from grabbing my left arm.
Like people look at you and they're like, stay away, stay away, stay away. We don't want to be the one who he bumps into on his heart attack, because then you have to do something about it. You can have plausible deniability as long as you stay across the street from someone you think's about to have a heart attack. Some beautiful sirens in the background. Ryan, what do you have coming up? What are you doing now? You have some road dates? You have some acting stuff? You just in LA doing your thing?
Well, I produce a show called Comedians You Should Know at the Hollywood Improv.
Done that show? It's now, but now it's in. Is it in the main room?
No, it's at the lab. It's every other Thursday.
Do you have it this Thursday?
I do.
I'll be gone. I'll be in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah? When do you leave?
I leave on Thursday morning
to
go to Las Vegas to interview basketball players for the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, well, that's boring. You could be at Comedians You Should Know. It's 10 p.m. at the world-famous Hollywood Improv. And I guess the biggest thing I'm doing is the Accidental Comedy Festival in Cleveland, Ohio, City of Champions.
When is that? I want to do that someday.
That is Labor Day weekend.
Wow, that Accidental Comedy Tour is a perfect name for a comedy tour.
Yeah.
Or comedy festival.
It's there's actually 2 comedy festivals. That's one of them in Cleveland. But this, I love the guys that produced the other one, but I just feel like this is the one, and they're really bringing the heat this year. It's gotten better every single year. Much in a way that the Laughing Skull has really grown over the years in Atlanta. That's what's happening in Cleveland with this festival, and mark my words, it will be one of the premier festivals in the next few years.
Nice. And people can find you on Twitter at
Ryan Dalton, at Instagram, The Ryan Dalton, website, TheRyanDalton.com, Facebook, The Ryan Dalton. All other platforms I give up. Honestly, I can't do it anymore. I seriously
You don't have
can't.
a Tumblr?
I
Come on,
can't.
you have a,
no. I don't even know it. There's 2 type of people that use Reddit. There's the people that use Reddit, and the other people who swear that they know what Reddit is. And I'm one of them. I have no idea what that is.
I can't. I've never been able to find one thing on Reddit.
Post on Reddit. I'm always like, yeah, totally. What? Huh?
Well, I'll find stuff
Reddit,
on,
huh?
I'll look up something, especially like gossipy drama. Like one thing that I'm fascinated by is comedian Quincy Jones, right?
Yeah.
He has mesothelioma, and he's been going through treatment for it. He did a special on HBO, and I find it fascinating, and I just don't – I think it's hilarious. I think it's insane when people call people out for having, like, faking an illness, faking a disease.
It's really taken flack for it. Somebody said that to me once, and I'm like, wow, how spiteful are comics?
Right.
We're the worst.
Oh,
comics are the worst, man.
They're really comedians. How crazy they are. They think that, like – they're like, yeah, man, I would have faked mesothelioma and chemo and all the stuff, all the procedures you've gone through to get my HBO special I should get an HBO special.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and I saw a Facebook post from Quincy saying the next time if he hears you talking about how you think he faked mesothelioma when he was given a year to live, and he's been doing all these treatments and chemo and stuff, and I was like, listen, even if I would never even put it on someone to even think that kind of like trickery is possible. That's how paranoid comics are. But also, like, who has the balls to even if you think that deep down, to then say it? And then I Googled it because he said it, and the only thing I found was Reddit threads. Of course, anonymity, all these just anonymous comics like, well, he was given a year to live. Why is he still alive? It's like, can't we just celebrate the fact that, like, modern medicine is helping people live longer than they should?
I just love that comics would accuse him of being the Lance Armstrong of HBO specials.
Right, he faked
his cheated.
Performance-enhancing drug, chemotherapy.
Chemo. Try to extend his life, that son of a bitch.
So stupid.
Do what you say.
All right, follow Ryan Dalton. He'll be out in Atlanta eventually. I'll drag him out there so you do some shows with me. Follow Ryan Dalton, TheRyanDalton.com, and make sure you tweet at us at Moote Points and at Pat Moote with who you think the victorious segment was on the podcast battle today, and we will check you out. Same time, same place you found the show this last time you're listening to it. Take it easy.